In June 2008, the University of Iowa faces the aftermath of the worst flood in recent history. As muddy waters start to recede, the UI community surveys the damage.
We believe 1993 was a high water mark. It was going to be the sample for flooding planning at that point. 1993 was frankly crushed by the 2008 flood.
We knew it would be bad after the floodwaters crested across the area. As they say, water always wins, and indeed we're seeing those effects right now.
Despite the considerable damage to Iowa's campus, flooding is far more severe in other Iowa communities.
Cedar Rapids was extreme. Over 4,000 homes had to be evacuated. Probably, it sounds like half of those homes may not be able to be reoccupied. Hundreds of businesses had to be evacuated. City Hall, the downtown Cedar Rapids Library, the police station, the sheriff's office. We also had other cities such as Columbus Junction and Oakville that were terribly devastated. Almost entire communities were flooded. So we've never had flooding of this magnitude in the state of Iowa before.
The Iowa City floods and the Cedar Rapids floods, both tragic and both very dramatic, were different mainly because we have a reservoir and a dam north of Iowa City.
So in this case, it was wonderful that the Coralville Reservoir was attenuating the flood, storing a great deal of water in the reservoir, while the people downstream were able to prepare, sandbag, and protect their various facilities.
But you also notice it takes a longer period of time for that water to also fall in Iowa City, which can be good and bad. Number one, it does give people more time to prepare for the high levels that we saw, yet that water stayed in those areas for a longer period of time, which can continue to do more damage because you just can't get it out of the building as fast as you'd like to start that recovery process.
That recovery starts immediately as UI administrators and engineers begin the process of cleanup and repair.
Essentially, it's going in and assessing the risk. Is there any hazardous materials? Is there any structural damage? How safe is the environment for workers to go in there and recover the building?
We hired two of the largest recovery companies in the nation to bring them in. They began to do a cleanup work, a severe cleanup work. Staffs of 400 scour the affected parts of the campus and then go through a muck-out process, as they call it, where they begin to clean all of the surfaces in these buildings, tear out the drywall that might be affected, those kinds of things.
We will have metal studs and concrete walls and concrete floors left to dry out when the cleanup effort is completed.
At the main library, where flooding was minimal, there is still a risk for damage to materials.
We're a little concerned because of temperature variations they've had in the building that we may be developing mold. You begin to create a very wonderfully ripe environment for mold, and mold love books. There is just nothing like cleaning up after flood. It is just awful.
Cleanup crews and workers must take precaution against health risks as they recover flood-stricken areas. Chris Atchison is director of the University Hygienic Laboratory, a testing facility and statewide resource for public health.
I think the major risk is from the contaminated water, and that's why what we're stressing right now is for ensuring that the water supply is restored to a healthy state.
The Hygienic Lab provides valuable water testing to thousands of Iowa residents.
I think in May of this year we did maybe 46 tests for water. In June we did over 3,000 tests of water.
In addition to property damage and health hazards, there is a psychological toll as well on those affected by the flood.
There can be emotional loss too, as people recognize things that they've literally had their whole lives that may be destroyed at this point, mementos. So I think mental health is one of those perhaps hidden longer-term health consequences of this flood.
We sustained a lot of damage to property, to things, but it wasn't all of our personal belongings. It wasn't as personal as it is for those people who lost their homes. Those are the people that my heart really goes out to.
On the UI campus and in surrounding communities, there are numerous challenges in getting back to business.
We have begun the recovery process already. Construction contracts are already underway. The work will be considerable and will be long, but we're well into it now.
We're getting up and we're going to get back to business that's not normal. It's going to be better than normal.
Despite the optimism and flurry of activity, the recovery will be a long one.
This is a long road we're on, and it could take us several years easily to get back solely on our feet to where we were, 3 or 4 weeks ago.
This is not an event that's done by any means across eastern Iowa or the Midwest that's experienced the flooding.
I think the most remarkable thing about floods is how long they last and how broad their impact is. We'll be dealing with the consequences of this flood for years to come.
Coming up, the recovery begins, but has the threat of flooding really passed?
You could have 100-year floods 3 years in a row.
Could it happen again this year? Absolutely.
We should expect floods of this magnitude much more often.
Next on Iowa Magazine.